this is very, what do you call that, very, very short subtopic. You need to, what do you call that, at least, okay, know what are the tools can be used during the requirement engineering. Okay? To assist you and also simplify the requirement engineering process. Okay? Okay, so as I said, we already covered all the four. So now we're going to repeat this code due to requirement changes. Okay? Okay, first two topics, change management and prepare of requirement change. Okay, so change management. Okay, what are the reasons for change? People already spend a lot of time, okay, on eliciting requirements, evaluating requirements, specifying, documenting, validating, and verifying. Finalize, everything done. Why customers or clients come back again for requirement change? Simply, sometimes unavoidable. One of my neighbor, the other day when I met her, she told me her company out of sudden, they got no any notification, nothing. Out of sudden, her company was bought by another company. Okay, and they just announced 1 week before the customer process. So many of them lost job. Of course, they get some compensation, but I'm not sure whether it's worth. So she lost her job as well. Okay, so can you imagine? Suddenly, out of sudden, okay, another company bought a small company. So this small company, let's say, okay, has a few projects going on. What happened to the projects? Let's say they have approached you to develop a software, and out of sudden, another company, like big companies such as let's say Philips, or let's say GE, okay, or any other multinational company. Let's say buy this company. Okay, what happened to the projects? Do you think the project can just continue or carry on with the current requirement? I'm very sure this multinational company, they have their own standard, their own requirement. So all those projects will go through the new company's requirement. Okay? So what happens? A lot of changes will be there. So the project obviously will be delayed due to the changes. Okay? So this is not something new, happened before. My sister was working in a company called Castrate, also multinational company. And that company was bought by Philips recently, few years back. Okay, the Castrate is fully in charge of medical systems such as MRI, CT scan, okay, X-ray, those systems. You know that devices. Actually, there's a system working with these devices, right? Embedded system. This kind of products actually main products of Castrate. They are very expert in medical system. So what happened during COVID? Right? All this very high demand. So what happened? Many big companies, they wanted to invest on medical systems. So they bought small medical system developers or companies, okay, to expand their market. So this is what happened. But you know what happened? Recently I heard Philips are not really doing well with all these products. So a lot of complaints and a lot of problems in the system. So what happened? Their market dropped terribly. So they are not doing well. They bought from Castrate, but they are not handling those systems. So that's what I think. Okay. So same thing goes to all the other companies. So why requirement change? See, as I said, business. The other one is context. Okay, the other one is context. What is context? Environment. Okay. For example, all the while we were having physical classes. I've never had any online class in my life until COVID. Then what happened? Suddenly we were asked to use Microsoft, not Microsoft, sorry, that's another department. We were asked to use Google Meeting, okay, to conduct classes. So can you say no? No. That is due to context. Out of sudden, from physical change to context, online context. We have to learn how to, use the system. So what happened? A lot of companies approach software developers to come up with online meeting software, or they try to subscribe, such as Gmail. Before this, have you heard about Teams? I think after COVID, Microsoft Teams became very popular, right? Then Zoom also I've never heard before COVID. requirement change? Anyone? Or how technology can be one of the cause of requirement change? Today, Android, what's the latest version Android? You all doing final year project, right? You haven't started your research. You have to study all those things so that you know what you can propose for your system, your project. Okay, so if you are developing a mobile application, you need to determine whether you're going to do Android based or iOS based. Then you have to even determine what's the version of software or iOS that you're going to, operating system OS that you're going to use. Then hardware, software, everything you need to propose. You cannot simply use or simply choose because you know how to use it. You need to justify. So you need to propose and justify why are you choosing this tool. So you need to conduct a research for your FYP, saying that I have compared this environment or this tools, and I come out with this outcome. For example, pro and cons. Then I can confirm that this is the best tool for my project with this justification. So you need to have all this in your final year report. Okay, chapter 2, literature review. Chapter 2 you don't choose first. Chapter 2 you just conduct the research, study as much as possible. Tools, hardware, software, algorithm. If let's say you are developing AI based project, you compare a few algorithms, then identify which one is the best algorithm for your project. Then chapter 3 you propose. Chapter 3 is for you to write all your methodology. So how you going to develop. Okay? So your requirement is chapter 3. But before you can write your chapter 3, you need to know what are the existing options, right? So you conduct the research to study. So your chapter 2, if you really study very well, you conduct research thoroughly, I'm very sure you can come up with a very good project. Okay? So that's actually chapter 2. Then chapter 3 is your proposal. Your methodology, how you're going to implement. Then chapter 4, based on your methodology, you design. Then chapter 4, design and development. So you can start your development. Chapter 5, testing. Chapter 6, conclusion. Okay, so 6 chapters for FYP. There are 7 chapters for certain project, depends. But most of the project, 6 chapters. Okay, come back to this. Technology. Today you develop a product based on, let's say, operating system version, blah blah blah. Then the next week, the following week, this company released their latest version, like iPhone. For example, the hardware. Okay, the size of the screen will be changed. Everything. Nowadays you can see a lot of new technology released within a few seconds, within a few minutes. So fast, technology change just like that. So you have to make sure the current trend, the technology, the trending technology, have been used in your system. Otherwise, your system is considered outdated. So you release a software. By the time the software, launched, seems like all the development tools or maybe the deployment tools considered as outdated. Do you think people will subscribe your software? Your client will be happy with your software? No. The productivity will be good as expected? No. That's why you have to make sure you go for the latest technology when you develop your product. So when the technology change, you need to change. Otherwise, your software will be considered as outdated. You understand or not? I remember one movie, animation movie. Was you can go and search. Animation movie using graphical and animation. So like about 10 years back, 10 or 15 years back. So what happened? They proposed a movie and everyone read, most of the articles wrote so well about the movie. Very high expectation. Because it's going to be like, last time, like 15 years back, eye movement is not really good. Only mouth, lips movement will be considered in animated movies. Eyes, expression all still not that good. So what happened? This movie, they said going to have this kind of expression, this emotion, blah blah blah. So everyone so excited for the movie. But then what happened? There was a problem in the production. 5 years later, the movie dragged, and the production took about 5 or 6 years. So the movie released 5 or 6 years later. By the time the movie released, it was getting terrible comment feedback from all the viewers. You know why? That technology, which was like very amazing during the launching, okay, was considered as very, very outdated by the time they released. That time the animation has gone to next level already. So they thought, this movie is like nothing. So it was like very, very what do you call that? It's considered a loss. Okay? So this happened just because the project delayed. So what should have done by the movie? They should have updated, adapt all the changes to come up with the latest animation, latest algorithm, latest technology. So what they did, they just continued the project with the whatever old what do you call that, design methodology that they have planned. By the time they release, it's considered outdated. Okay, so that's the problem. Okay, so you need to make sure you change. Okay, market. What is market? Market? Anyone? Yeah, people change. Today you see this t-shirt so nice. Tomorrow you see your grandfather t-shirt, old man t-shirt. See trend changing so fast. Okay, people like now what? Korea, is it? Korea trend. Okay, I think in 1 or 2 years it will change again. Okay, keep changing. When I was teenager, also Korean movies were so popular. Then after some time, I noticed Korean no more. Then recently, I see Korean still active. Okay, I mean deactivated, active again. Okay, so different trend. People change, their taste change, their requirement change. So you need to develop a product according to the people's requirement, expectation, and so on. Market always change. Okay, so that's nowadays people prefer everything online after the COVID, especially. That's how you have to change according to the market. So all this can cause requirement to change. Okay, so if in exam you can write any factor and you need to explain with example. Okay. Okay. Whoever just came in can mark your attendance. Please mark your attendance. Okay, requirement change must be managed. Okay, yeah. If you don't manage, what happens? You mess up the whole project. Your plan will overrun, your budget will overrun, everything will be messed up. So what happens at the end? You cannot deliver your product as you planned. Okay, so change management policy may cover the change request. So usually, right, how you request for a change? I was working as a system engineer with one of the project, M assurance insurance policy registration system. So that system, right, for for actually agent we use. Insurance agent earn a lot. That insurance agent usually will be provided some hardware with the system installed when you become a member of M assurance. Okay, so what happened? We were asked to add some new vehicles. Such as, all the while they provide policy for so many types of vehicles, which are, like not heavy vehicles. But then recently, at that point of time, M Assurance wanted to upgrade. They want to provide, insurance policy. They want to sell policy for heavy vehicles, such as crane. Have you seen crane? Listings and all that, okay, yeah, for construction purpose. That crane and few more other heavy vehicles, I can't really recall the names. They wanted to add these products into the system. Okay, that is one of the change requests from them. The system already developed by my company long time ago. Then that time I fresh grad, just joined the company, so I was assigned under the M Assurance project. So they asked us to come up with a full project, but in between they asked us to upgrade the existing agent system. That agent system, right? They gave me the folder, they gave me the file, system documentation, which like three folders, great folders, all the information about the project. So first 1 week they asked me to just study the project. Then they said there's upcoming changes, we want you to handle. So I studied that for whole week. Okay, very systematic, so easy to understand. So I managed to cover everything. Then they gave me the first task, asked me to just go and upgrade the system. Okay, just add a few new vehicles into the system. So there is a combo box. When you drop down, you can see all the vehicles. So you just, so for me, I love programming, so for me it's not a big deal. So I just drop down, I see a lot of vehicles already there. I just added that 3 vehicles. Then I look for that specific vehicles, what premium calculation function. Then I went to the function, I checked the existing formula, then I just added a few more formulas for each of the vehicles that I had. You know, that's that was the task. So I took some time just to search where is the coding. That was my challenge. The others I managed to do quickly. I managed to finish within 2 days, I think. You know how much my company charged? This is my first job, you know. Which, how many years back? Now I'm 40. My first job 24, I think. 24 or 25. So 15 years back, more or less. Okay? 15 years back. Small change. I did fresh grad leave in 2 days. How much they charge? Guess? Hey, very close. I did in 2 days, you know, just by adding. And the company M Assurance, and my company I don't want to mention. Oh, okay lah. It's in Menara Axis. Okay? So Menara Axis PJ. Okay? So can you guess? It was 8K. I saw the form. You know how I saw the am I aware of the amount? Okay, they asked me to go through the test. What change request form? You know what is change request form? This is change request form. Every change, once you deliver the software, if they want a change, they cannot simply accept the change. I mean, the company can request for change. As a developer, because you are getting money, you cannot simply accept the change. You need to analyze the change. So, they will propose the change. The client will propose the change. You as developer, you need to be reliable and also, rational. Whether you want to accept the change or not. It is really beneficial or not. You have to really consider your client. So, they asked me to go through this form, which is every time when there is a change, wait, I show you. Okay, the form is known as change request form. Okay, while waiting, I'll show you the change request form. So, you know how the change works? Okay, that is known as change request. So, client request for a change. You know what are the process you need to go through? Okay, let me show you that. These are the things. Okay, these are the things. When they identify, okay, they will come up with a problem analysis and change specification. Then the change analysis and costing. Of course, this one will be done by the development team. So problem analysis and specification. After the client come back to you, say, okay, we have a problem. Can we change? So you need to analyze and come up with the specification. The new specification only for the change. After that, you have to come up with the analysis of the change and also the costing. Analysis here is like, you know, good or not, how it is impacting the project, whether going to increase the cost, whether going to increase the project duration. You have to study everything. Okay, after that, if the feasibility can implement or not, okay, then finally you approve means you will implement. Okay, so this is how it works. So during this phase, right, you will come up with a form. Okay, I'll show you. I think I have change request. Yeah, change request form. Here it is. Okay, so I'll go through that. So change management process, you have this 3. First, you have to identify, okay, the problem. Then you have to propose the changes, and you have to analyze the changes, whether it is good or not. Then you have to implement the change. Okay, so to do this, right, first you have to propose, right? Propose the change. That is actually done through a form, change request form. So they asked me to go through the form, revise the form, and I saw the amount. So I was like, shocked. Wow, I did within. But of course, I cannot go alone outside, freelance. When I did it under the company, it was charged 8K just to do a very small, simple task. Actually, the task only a few hours, but to find, to study the file, to find the coding exact, where make sure no problem, no issue, no error. So I took 2 days to complete that. Okay, because I need to first locate the code, right? Then only I need to do the coding. So I did within not a few hours actually, but I took time to study the code. So that one, they charged 8K that point of time. So you see, so always when customer come to you to develop a system, okay, it is only they will try to expand the system from time to time. That is perfective. Okay, so when they come back, like just now I said, the changes is actually perfective, no bugs, but they want to add new product, so that is perfective. Then adaptive, adaptive also I went through. What happened to Oracle? The company that I was working, okay, I mean my client, okay, they were using Oracle 10, not 10, 70 or something last time, very long time ago. That time during my industrial training. So they wanted to migrate to a new Oracle, new version of Oracle. So my company was supporting and consulting how this can be done. Okay, so we are not developer, consultation company. So I was doing my industry training there. So that was quite interesting. Went through a lot of big projects, but only consulting. So you gain a lot of knowledge. So what happened? They were explaining, okay, how you can carry out this, what will be the budget, how these changes can be done in effective, efficient way, that kind of things. Okay. So you see, when you want to change to different Oracle, or you want to change your operating system from old Windows to latest Windows, all these are called adaptive. Or you want to change your hardware. You were using one old model all the while. So after 20 years of use, you want to change all the hardware in your company to the latest laptop, for example, or latest device. So that is also adaptive. So all this can give you more money compared to development. Development just one time income, but support is continuous. Okay. Usually, software development company make money through the support, not really through the development. Okay. Okay. Now, so these are the content of the form. You will have the date, customer, of course the company name or the customer name. Okay. Then you will have the what product description. Okay. And what change request. What is the change? Description of the change. Then field to document the change analysis. So you have one column for you to analyze and write if this change is approved or rejected at the end. You're studying your research. Then your side status and comments. Status accepted, rejected, blah blah. Okay. So let me try it now. What's wrong? Check the request validity, whether the request is appropriate or not, valid or not. Then find directly affect the requirement. If let's say one small change going to affect hundreds of your requirement, your current requirement, then you sure will advise not to proceed. If this one change, no many dependency, only going to affect 2 or 3 requirements, then you will advise them to proceed. Correct? Okay? So if it is like very badly impact the other requirement, then you will reject the request straight away. Okay? Then requirement list, you come up with the final, find the dependent list. Yeah, one requirement, what are the dependent requirements? If many requirements, depending on this requirement which you're going to change, oh die, all this requirement will be affected. Okay? So that's going to confirm increase your cost. Then you're going to delay your project. Okay? So you need to be very careful. Propose the requirement change and finally assess the cost. See whether the requirement no many dependency, but still the cost is very high due to certain use of tools or technology or skill. That still will be rejected. Okay, then finally come up with the cost estimation. Then see whether it's acceptable. This one client decide. Whether want to proceed or no need to proceed. So you check on the technical part and client will be deciding on the cost. Okay? So you have to study all the technical part, see whether this is appropriate or not. What are the 2 things you consider when you want to implement the change? What are the 2 things you will consider? Tell me. If you have a change now from your client, whether to consider or reject, what are the things you will check? Anyone? It's on the screen. You have to see the requirement dependency. How many requirements depend on this one change? If this one change affecting so many requirements, then obviously it's not a good idea to proceed with the change. Okay? So again, you need to check on the affected requirement and the list of the dependent requirement. Okay? So affected requirement, dependency of the requirement. Okay? So all this you need to study before you can make decision. Yeah? Okay? Okay, how do you find now what are the dependent? What are the requirements that not only requirement, it can be design dependency, it can be requirement dependency, it can be source code dependency. How do you identify that? How do you identify when you want to change one requirement, what are the dependent requirements? What are the dependent requirements? Because when dependent requirements too many, let's say you change this one requirement, all the dependent also need to be updated. Correct or not? All this also will go through the changes. Agree with me? So how do you study the dependency now? Tell me. How do you find out which requirements are dependent for this requirement? How do you do that? Anyone? Hello. When is your exam? Next week. This course?
Yeah, next Monday.
Monday. First exam.
First exam.
Is this coming Monday?
Yes.
I got no break. I can go now. Yeah, have to start marking. Gave me a bad news. I thought I can have a few days break. Okay. Oh, Monday. Wow, so fast. No break. No study break for this sem. Yeah, no study break. And you still can chit chat when I'm teaching here. Wow, super. You're all really powerful. Next Monday exam, I'm teaching the final chapter and I'm highlighting one important topic and you can still don't bother me. Wow. Seriously. Okay. Okay, now tell me, how do you determine the dependency? That's another important topic will come out in exam every semester. So tell me, how do you determine the dependency of one requirement? One requirement, what are the other requirements depending on this requirement? How do you find out? That is known as traceability. Traceability. Okay? There is a tool for traceability. But unfortunately, not everyone can go for the tool. You know what? Too expensive. You know, requirement engineering can be so complicated. So, the tool can be very helpful. But you know what? Not everyone can own the tool. Very expensive. Very costly. Still very new. So, very costly. So, Malaysians prefer go for manual traceability. manual traceability. We come up with our own way to trace. We don't really purchase the tool, very expensive. Because based on my experience, based on whatever I see around, still I don't see any company go for traceability tool in Malaysia as so far as I know. Because too costly, too expensive, not worth. Okay? Because you need to subscribe so many tools for testing, development, blah blah blah. So requirement engineering, they don't really go for tool. Okay? So here, traceability tool, that's the traceability tool. Okay, let's I think next will be traceability. So you can see, already explained to you all this. So you don't really need to memorize all the steps, but you need to really understand how the requirement change is processed. Okay? So how requirement change is processed? There are three main steps. There are main three steps: problem analysis, change specification, change analysis and costing, then finally the implementation. So just now the diagram comes under the second step. Second step. Now this one is the second step. Okay? Okay, now change management support tool. Yeah, what are the tools can be used? Okay, electronic change request form. Yeah, nowadays we don't go and last time, my time, I still remember we print out the form and then we fill up everything manually. Okay, but no, now no more. Now all electronic. Even you don't print the form. Okay, you just send online and you get the digital signature. Okay, no more what do you call that? Physical work. Very, very less. Okay, then you need a database to store all the change that you have done. What are the changes have been requested? What are the changes approved? What are the changes rejected? What are the changes have been made? All this must be recorded clearly. So that is also another important thing. So how to do that? We normally will use the database to do that. Okay. So change model, then we will have our model. What kind of changes our system has gone through. So that this model can help you to predict in future if there is any new changes. Okay, is it good or not? Okay. Electronic transfer of forms between people with different responsibility. Okay. So and electronic mail notification when activities have been completed. So this one is like kind of forum but not really forum. So everyone will be in the loop. When someone has done a job, it will be notifying everyone in the loop so that the next person can take over and continue. So this is usually used for project management. Electronic signature, discussion forum. Yeah, this is really forum. In some cases, direct links to requirement database. So all this can be very useful. Okay, technologies in order to process and implement changes. Okay. Okay, impact of requirement change. Another very, very important topic that you need to know. Okay, impact of requirement change, good or bad? Tell me. Good or bad? Good or bad? Bad. Bad. Are you sure? Then if they really need to change the change requirement in order to achieve the goal of their business, how can you say just bad? Okay, so it is depending on requirement changing towards the end of the development without any impact assessment. You know what's the meaning? Any impact assessment. So towards the end, okay, you're already going to deliver the project. You see, you already done everything. Your design done, your development done, your coding done, your testing done. So now you're going to plan. You already launched. Okay, you already designed the date for launching your software. And that time, your client come back to you and say, no, we have to hold first. We have some changes. How you feel? How you feel? As the developer, how you feel? As the development team, how you feel? Okay, you see that unmatched, outdated requirement specification causing confusion and unnecessary rework. Okay, this is fine. Outdated requirement, unnecessary requirement, you have to go for rework. That is fine. Look at the last one. Time spent on coding, writing test cases, documentation for requirement that no longer exists. So almost deliver the software, but then customer come back, ask you to hold first, launch the software, we're going to go for change. So all the effort you have put all the while in coding, okay, in testing, in requirement engineering, all wasted. Agree? So that's the problem. Okay, but still we have to accept if it is really necessary. You know, we can't avoid. Changes cannot be avoided. Okay, sometimes you have to. Like you see, COVID recently, a lot of changes happened. No choice. We have to go through. Okay, so that's the meaning. Okay, here. Okay. Okay, so now, yeah, why you need traceability? As I said, this is one of the most important topic in this lecture. Why you need traceability? Can anyone recall? I already touched this topic in the previous topic. Why you need traceability? Why do you need traceability? When I come to your company, I say, okay, this is my software. We are using this software very actively. I want to change this particular requirement. How do you start with the requirement change now? Is it easy to do? A software they have been using for 10 years or 20 years. They come to you, approach you for a change request. So how are you going to implement the change? Where do you start? Where do you start? Yeah. How or where do you start? That's why this topic is important. Okay, let's see what you learn in this topic. Okay, so now here traceability codes. Okay, requirement traceability refers to the ability, describe and follow the life of a requirement. So one requirement, okay, you have version 1.0. First time you write the requirement is 1.0. When the requirement go through changes, it will become maybe minor change. You will just put it as 1.1, then 1.2 and so on. If the requirement change totally, then it will become version 2, 2.0. Then the next change will make it 3.0. So you will keep the copy of the first version, the same requirement, second version of the same requirement, third version and so on. You can even find out what is the current version of the same requirement in the system that you are using. This is how they maintain. My companies that I have worked before, right? They do this. Every company they will have a very clear record of all the changes that they have implemented. So when come to change requests or support, they can handle it easily. If the company they don't do all this, I tell you, not easy. You will mess up with everything. Okay, because source code, right? For so many versions for the same requirement for so many versions, so many source code, okay, for the same requirement. Why? Because it has gone through a lot of changes. So you don't know which one is which if you don't have the traceability. You get what I mean? So now, how to make use of it? Okay, let me show you. Okay, traceability gives essential assistance and understanding. Yeah, here you see, it's actually traceable if the origin of each of the requirement is clear. So always, like I said, from the original version, go through a lot of changes. Okay. So now, a link or relationship defined between entities. Okay, and traceability information helps assess the impact of change. So you will usually create links between the changes, so that it will help you to assess the changes. Okay, don't understand? I might not show you. Okay, so first of all, requirement cannot be managed effectively without requirement traceability. No traceability, you cannot manage. You know why? You cannot manage changes. Can you tell me why? Okay, if you have no traceability, one requirement, okay, suddenly your company or your client come back to you. Say, okay, I want to change this requirement. Then you go and look for the person who handled the project, who resigned long ago. You got no idea what requirement is this. So you have to go and check for the look for the traceability. What is traceability? Okay, this requirement you need to go and find what is the first version of the requirement. Who proposed the requirement and who created the requirement? Who actually implemented that requirement? You have to get all this information. After that, the original version. Then you need to see what are the new versions. Okay, the latest version. Between this latest and the original version, how many changes this requirement has gone through. You have to identify all this so that you can find this requirement. Where is the design document? For this requirement, which one is the source code? For this requirement, okay, who handled this? Who actually previously or currently handling the support? For this requirement, where are the test cases? Test plan. You have to look for every single thing. Just now I told you, right? When I want to do the coding, I took only a few hours. But to study, where is the code, where is the file, that is this one, whatever I am explaining. So when they come back to request to change, if you are the person who developed the system, you got no problem. You can straight away go and do the changes. You know everything, correct or not? But the problem, you know what? People come and go. People always, the turnover. You know what is turnover? People resign and go away. So new software engineer or new, developer will take over the job. So he or she doesn't know about the existing system or old system. So you need to study where are they. How to study? Traceability. If your company keep a very good traceability, it will help the staff to determine everything easily. You understand or not? So my company really good. I managed to study within 2 days means consider very good. Right? Because I managed to find all the files so easily because every single code, right? They have very clear what created for what. They have the purpose. Then they have who created the code. Last modified date. Everything was put in the code. All the document they keep up to date. So clear. So it's very easy for me to find everything as a fresh plan. Okay? So that's the thing. So that's all about traceability. Okay, now we're going to look at types of traceability, importance of traceability and so on. Okay, benefit of traceability. Prevents losing knowledge. Yeah, as I said, now got this software engineer in, let's say 1990, you develop a software. Then in 2000, you leave the company. You get a better offer. You go away. But your product is still there. Okay? And this company is still supporting the product. So they employ someone new. So when he takes over the project, he has to support the customers. He is not the developer. Developer already resigned. We have a new person taking over the project. How to know what is the project all about? What are the content? Where are the files? How the files link to each other? How many versions are there? Where the requirement? Where is the test plan? He can actually find out easily if, you have, you keep the traceability. So meaning, he can trace all the documents with the traceability, easily. So that's why, first one, prevent losing knowledge. He can get back the knowledge through the traceability. You understand or not? Okay, next, impact analysis. Yeah, you can study whether the changes is good or not. When someone requests for the change, right, you can see whether the impact going to be bad or good. Because you've got so many requirements depending on one requirement, do you encourage for the change? No. If only one or two requirements depending on one requirement and the client requests you to change the requirement, still okay. Not many changes. So, still okay. So, you can study whether the impact is big or small. How? Through the traceability. Okay? Support verification process. Yeah, all the certification, localization, all this. Okay? Change control. Yeah. You can also control the change. If you notice one requirement has gone through many changes, you can see whether the change is needed or not needed. It is really appropriate. Work means whether it is good for the cost. All those things under control. Okay? Process monitoring. With the traceability, we can monitor how many versions every requirement has gone through. Okay? Some requirement, all versions, no changes, remain the same. Still using 1.0. But some requirement have gone through a lot of changes. So all this can be monitored. Improve software quality, obviously. Re-engineering. What is re-engineering? What is re-engineering? What is reverse engineering versus re-engineering? Anyone? What is re-engineering? Anyone? Re-engineering is a part of reverse engineering, or reverse engineering is a part of re-engineering? Yeah, reverse engineering is a component of re-engineering. So what is reverse engineering? Software engineering, reverse engineering. So what's the meaning of software engineering, reverse engineering? So what's the meaning? In reverse engineering, do you have the documentation? Do you have a documentation, a proper documentation? No. Reverse engineering means A system is still being used by the company, but they don't have any documentation, or their documentation is outdated. So they have the system, but they don't have the guide. So what you do, you want to come up with the requirements and the guide, the documentation. So what do? You have to go backward. You study the source code, you study the design to come up with all the requirements and design documents. Usually what we do, we collect the requirement, we design, then only we come up with the source code, right? This one, reverse. You use the source code to produce the documents, to produce all the design and requirement documents. To identify back all the requirements and why we need to do this. In future, if you want to do the maintenance, easier to do maintenance with the documentation. So when there is no documentation, we go for reverse engineering. Yeah? Okay, what is re-engineering? Re-engineer the software. Okay, so changes to the software. So you have a few options, whether you want to keep the software, maintain continuously, okay, or re-engineer the software, okay, modify the software, or the other one is just scrap the software, don't use it. Okay, so maintain, re-engineer. Re-engineer means make changes to the software. Okay, make changes like maintaining. Okay, what do you call that? Maintain and support, just continue maintain support. But re-engineering means you rebuild the software. Okay, then the other one is replace. Replace means you don't use the software anymore, come up with a new system. Replace. Okay, so now what happened here? Next, reuse. Okay, wow. Re-engineering, define traceability links is a way to record reverse engineering. So you go back to find out the source code. From the source code, you try to trace the design. From the design, you try to trace back the requirement. Go reverse. Okay? So then finally reuse. Yes, for reusing also, okay, one company project files you have with you. Another company approach you for a new project. They ask a system which is almost the same as this project. Almost the same. So you want to reuse one of the requirement. So if they already say, okay, I want this requirement, you notice what? This requirement can be reused from another project. So to find this requirement, what are the design files? For this requirement, what are the source code I need to reuse? You can do it with traceability. If you have the traceability, okay, requirement 1.0. The design involved is 1.1, 1.5, 1.6. Then the source code file name or source code file ID ST1.0, ST1.5, ST1.6. So you can just go and look for that files and reuse. No need to waste time studying one by one. Because all this you have record. This is the requirement. These are the design for this requirement. These are the source code file for this requirement. These are the test case for this requirement. So you have all this information. This is known as traceability. You understand or not? So traceability, not only requirement and requirement or between requirements. It is also between requirement and design document. Requirement and test case. Requirement and source code. Understand or not? So when you want to change one requirement, you need to know this one requirement when I change, what are the other requirement I need to change? First thing, when I change this requirement, where is the design I need to update? So I need to find the design document. When I want to change this one requirement, where's the source code I need to go and update the code? I need to find that first. Then when I change this one requirement, what are the test case I need to reuse? I need to find all the test cases. You understand or not? Sounds like one requirement change, but there are so many files involved. How to find all the respective files? Traceability. Clear? You all understand what I mean by traceability? Can you understand about traceability? Okay, now traceability important. Okay, very important topic for final exam. Okay? Yeah. So risk reduction, remember with key knowledge tips. As I said, okay, when someone knows everything all the while, you can't promise your staff will be with you forever. Who knows when they get better offer, they will leave anytime. So if the staff who maintaining the system all the while not there, how are you going to continuously maintain the system now? If you have a very good traceability, anyone leaves, still have your records, traceability. You can just ask new person to learn and continue. That's what I was doing when I joined my first job. You understand or not? They put me under one senior engineer. Then I was thinking, hey, the senior engineer is there. How come they ask a fresh grad to do all this? Not only changes, even developing a new project, they put me in charge. Then they asked me to go to the data center to implement the change. Oh, I still cannot forget that experience. Around first experience, working experience, and doing something which is very, very, very high responsibility job. So, when they asked me to do, I was like very surprised. How come they asked me to do when my senior is still there? 6 years with the company. Then I realized he already resigned. Then he about to leave under the notice period. 3 months notice because senior position. So he was just there to support me to pass over all the job. No wonder I need to take over and do everything. So that's why people come, people leave. You need to have a way to maintain everything. Otherwise, you start a software company, you trust your friend, you thought your friend will be with you forever. If your friend leaves, you know nothing about your product. Right? You understand or not? So this always happens. Most of the companies, software company, they cannot maintain because they put some in charge person to be responsible for everything. When this person or these people leave, no one to support. They don't know how to handle the projects. You get what I mean? Happened to another company. What happened? Many people, many employees, old staff left the company because they were not doing well. So what happened? One day, one of the projects failed. One of the project, very big project it seems, failed. This company is located in PT also. So what happened, You know what happened? They terminate their project manager. That particular project's manager terminated. Okay, what is terminated? They throw away. They ask him to quit. You know why? Always whatever happened to a project manager will be the person who is in charge. So when even your employees didn't do the work, or whatever happened, not because of you. Maybe there are 1,000 reasons for the project to be a failure. You have to be in charge as a project manager, team leader, project manager. You get what I mean? So they asked the project manager just to resign. Okay, can you imagine just losing the job just like that in one day? Not easy. I've seen this situation. Okay, so that's why it's not easy. Project manager salary very high. After working for 5 to 7 years, you can reach your project manager position. But the responsibility is not that easy. Okay, you have to be very good in technical skills so that you can monitor everything, you can manage everything. Okay, let's continue. Okay, now traceability, difficulty. Okay, what just now importance? Class, just now importance, right? Now difficulty. Okay, various stakeholders require different information. They don't only ask about your, the test cases or requirements that affected. They can even ask something different from what you have. So it can be there's no limit what they want to know. Huge amount of requirement traceability information must be tracked and maintained. One project, more or less how many requirements? A normal, let's say, a booking system, how many requirements are there? Can you tell me roughly how many requirements? When you do your assignment, right, roughly how many requirements you all have? Okay, anyone with 5 modules? 5 modules, how many requirements altogether? Hello, how many requirements altogether for 5 modules? Hundreds of requirements. So can you imagine hundreds of requirements? Okay, it's for a small project, your assignment title. Can you imagine if it's a real work system, the requirement number is quite big. So what happened? It can be so challenging for you to manage. Manual creation of link is very demanding. Even though you have the tool, we still go for manual, but it is not easy to do, very messy. You see later, I will show you picture. Specialized tool must be used. The tool assistance will be very, very good, but very costly. So not every company can afford. So usually we will use database, we will use Excel to maintain. Integrating The link between class. The link between requirement and requirement. One requirement, what are the requirements affecting this requirement? One requirement, what are the requirements depending on this requirement? This is HOMO. Among the requirement, HOMO. Intro means requirement, design. Which one is design document affect this requirement? Or this requirement affect which design? Requirement, source code. One requirement, what are the design document? This requirement, what are the source code? What are the test cases? All those, what are the business goals? Business, what do you call that? Business goal and business, what do you call that here? Vision and mission. All those things are intro. Okay? So this is intro. Requirement with other types of sources, intro. Requirement and requirement, what do you call that? HOMO. Okay, continue. Yeah, requires organization commitment with an understanding of the potential benefit. Okay, so of course, the organization need to support, need to understand. Okay, how to maintain this traceability. Okay, you see how? Class. This is the objective. Okay, objective like business goal and business objective. Okay, then you have the architectural component. Then here you have the source code. Here you have the test data. Here you have the user manual. So how each requirement, okay, is linked to the source code. Okay, how each requirement linked to its test data. How each requirement is linked to its user manual. And backward also. This is forward. What is backward? What is backward? So how each requirement linked to its objective, business goal, business, what do you call that? Assumptions and so on. Okay, so that can be backward. Okay, this is forward. Okay, now our class. We get requirement from where? We get the requirement from our project objective. So objective, okay, then requirement, then design, then source code, test case, user manual. Agree with me? Again, objective, business objective, requirements, design document, source code, test case, test plan, user manual. Agreed? If you go this way, forward. If you go this way, go back to the previous document, backward. Go to the forward document, forward. Go to the previous document, backward. Clear? Why? Why it is important? See this. This is why I want you to remember and understand. Okay? Backward traceability to previous stages of development. Okay? Depends. You see, previous stages. So, for example, if you want to trace from source code to design, trace from source code. Where's the design? It is considered backward. Okay? Upon each element explicitly referencing its source in earlier document. Source in the earlier document, previous stage. So if you know the software engineering stages, right? The previous stages, if you want to find something from the previous stages, backward. If you want to find something from the next stage, forward. Okay? Forward traceability to all documents formed by a document depend upon each element in the document having a unique name, something like this. See, this is your requirement, right? You want to find where's the business plan, what's the objective. So this is backward. This is backward. From the requirement document, you want to find the design specification. This is forward. This is forward. You understand, Amma? From requirement finding business plan is backward. From requirement document find the design specification is forward. Clear? Okay, now got more things to know. What is this? Forward to, forward from. Got two types of forward. Forward to, forward from. Then you got two types of backward. Backward also you got backward to, backward from. How to do this? How to do this? Can I give you 2 minutes to go through? I already explained
谁做？没有。我在做，在做 presentation。你们还没有 present？明天。哎呀，讲一下，就不要练。我要练，我会越紧张的。好不理解。很多人急了。哈哈。看一下。哇，7面了。就是讲完了。7面了。45分钟了。他好像可能不止7面，因为还没有放80多。对，请报怎么讲完？看，其他部分老师叫我们跳过啊，没有啊，因为有些面是多出来的，他是可以，他看不到的，presentation看不到，所以。